There's a book that continues to be a thorn in the side of Watchtower. However, this book has helped and continues to help open the eyes of many witnesses. It's been said that once people read this book, most leave the organization. It's that much of an eye-opener. It's a book they don't want you to know about, but they continue to allude to it. Let's talk about it.
I'm changing my life and I won't look back ever again.
Real quick, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It will help get this video out to a lot more people, and together we can help a lot of people.
Have you ever been confronted by a bad report, a false report about Jehovah's people? It may be a newspaper article or a segment on the evening news, or perhaps some subject is brought up in the ministry. It could be a broad range of subjects. Our neutral stand, our stand on blood, our adherence to Jehovah's elevated moral standards and appreciation for the sanctity of marriage, or our insistence on keeping the congregation clean by disfellowshipping unrepentant wrongdoers. But whatever the subject, there are some commonalities. Such reports are often characterized by distortions, inaccuracies, and sometimes outright falsehood. And inevitably, they're presented with certainty and surety as though they were fact. When you're confronted with such a report, how do you feel? Disheartened? Discouraged? Angry? Consider the experience of a pioneer sister who was conducting a Bible study. And in the course of conducting the study, a woman walked into the house unannounced. She didn't ring the doorbell, didn't knock. And as it turned out, an acquaintance of the student, she walked right in, interrupted the Bible study, and in her hand was a book written by a man who at one time had associated with Jehovah's people. The woman said to the student, "You need to read this book." Well, an interesting conversation ensued, and our sister found herself in the position of being cast in the role of a deceiver.
Now, we don't really know what book Seth Hyatt was talking about in that talk, but the consensus on the internet is that it probably is this book, Crisis of Conscience, written by former governing body member Raymond Franz. Arguably one of the most famous ex-Jehovah's Witness books out there. It is single-handedly one of the most damning pieces of evidence against the Watchtower, and it continues to be something they just can't run from. This book was one of the first books I bought after I woke up. Now, the governing body likes to spin it that any book, news article, piece of information that does not show them in a good light or is negative against them is either misinformation, misleading, half-truths, or outright lies. But think about this. Do you think all the people out there writing books, that have websites, the YouTubers getting the word out there, are lying or telling half-truths, are trying to mislead people? Ooh. You think they want to waste their fucking time lying and trying to mislead people? You don't think they have better things to do with their time? Or are they simply whistleblowers? I'm here to tell you that Raymond Franz is one of the most famous whistleblowers in the JW world. I love how he quoted the January 15th, 1974 Watchtower in the beginning of this book. When persons are in great danger from a source that they do not suspect or are being misled by those they consider their friends, is it an unkindness to warn them? They may prefer not to believe the warning. They may even resent it. But does that free one from the moral responsibility to give that warning? I want to read you what follows that Watchtower quote in his book. Life is uncertain, and when a man dies, what he knows dies along with him, unless he passes it on while still in life. What this book contains is written out of a sense of obligation to people whom I sincerely love. In all good conscience, I can say that its aim is to help and not to hurt. If some of what is presented is painful to read, it was also painful to write. It is hoped that the reader will recognize that the search for truth need never be destructive of faith, that every effort to know and uphold truth will instead strengthen the basis for true faith. What those reading this information will do with it is, of course, their own decision. At least it will have been said, and a moral responsibility will have been met. Now, Raymond Franz was a humble guy. He was not an angry apostate. There is not one hateful thing in his book. This is a man who was genuinely having a crisis of conscience. If you want to see with your own eyes and ears what kind of man he was, I would encourage you to watch his interview he did in Poland. It's about an hour and 25 minutes, and it's worth listening to every bit of it. I'm going to put the link to that in the description below. You will see he was a very humble man. I say was because he passed away in 2010. But his legacy lives on, and he continues to help people wake up and have their eyes open to what's behind the curtain. Again, I will have a link to that interview in the description below. In this book, Raymond tells the struggle between loyalty to God and loyalty to one's religion. Here's how the back of the book describes it. Former member of the governing body of Jehovah's Witnesses, Raymond Franz delivers a rare glimpse into the inner workings of the Watchtower organization. In response to extraordinary events, Franz tells a unique account of the decision-making sessions of the religion's inner council and the powerful, sometimes dramatic, impact their decisions have on people's lives. While the events of Raymond Franz's departure from the governing body occurred in 1980, the organizational foundation and structure remains the same today, making this account relevant to a whole new generation. And then at the bottom, it says, Crisis of Conscience offers a penetrating view of the Supreme Council of Jehovah's Witnesses, the governing body, and their life-altering power over human lives. I encourage all to read this book. In the description below, there will be a link to buy the book. There will be a link to get a free download of the book, and there will be a link to an audio recording of the book. Never stop searching for the truth, my friends. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next video.
I'm changing my life and I won't look back ever again.